Well, hi everyone. This is my first time of doing a live video. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, which I'll link up, so that was my first update. This is my second, and I thought I would do it live so people could perhaps, those who want to know what's happening in Milan, what's happening with Corona, and my personal experience of how I've coped with it can log in today and ask questions. So please do subscribe. I've just started up vlogging again and would really like, if you'd like to follow along, if you would like to subscribe and like videos so that I can do regular updates for you. So as I mentioned, I have been in quarantine, which means at home, not going out at all for 4 weeks now. And today I did say that I would cover some of the hiccups that one has and the problems one can have, you know, when you're having to stay at home completely. I had some pretty bad symptoms, and yesterday was the first day that I kind of felt human again. So today I've actually managed to put a bit of mascara on, so you're not getting my completely unmade up face as was the case yesterday. So where am I? I'm just north of Milan, 50 kilometers north of Milan. I'm in my house. I've been able to completely self-isolate. I have a small access to a garden behind me, which has been my lifesaver. But as for going out and doing normal routine things like going to the bank, going to the post office, buying groceries, working, none of that anyone can do. So we've been in lockdown, intensive lockdown for about 3 weeks, but I was 1 week before because I had these symptoms, which was that I started with this sort of dull headache, then it became a very sharp headache, which was almost like an ice pick headache, and then started to feel very tired, kind of fuzzy head. I felt dizzy quite a lot, which apparently is one of the signs. But in the beginning, I just thought it was probably just I was just feeling a bit, low, whatever. So I didn't take much notice of it. And then I started to notice that my blood pressure was dropping quite drastically. So I kind of got convinced. Then I got a fever, and I never really developed the bad cough. I just had this scratchy, sort of dry throat, and I treated that with Panado because that's all I had. And I sent out my neighbor to go to the pharmacy. He did a favor for me because he was going on behalf of his family. So he got some Panado from me from the chemist because I only had ibuprofen in the house. And as you may or may not have heard, it's contraindicated. One shouldn't take ibuprofen in this situation with COVID. So, okay, so what's been happening in Italy? So we were kind of excited here because 3 days or so ago, after the long measures that we've undergone, we imagined that the numbers would start to drop. But we did have one day when they were slightly down, and then the next day it rebounded again, and we had, this awful situation where it was, close to 1,000 died in a day. It was 900 and something in a day. That was really shocking again. The region of Bergamo, as I might have mentioned in my other video, which you can perhaps go and have a look at, the region of Bergamo is really hard hit. I mean, they cannot cope with the amount of cremations and burials that they're having to do. It's really, really scary, and people are really, really worried. Another statistic that is really alarming and I really want this video to be about good news and how to cope and to give encouragement to all of the people managing around the world. It's not just Italy where I am, but every country all over Europe. South Africa went into lockdown 2 days ago, or Friday. I just want to give some encouragement and some hope to people who are really struggling with being in lockdown or have family members who are sick or who are sick themselves and suffering with the symptoms. So Italy has lost 51 doctors. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible toll that we have paid. What the government has done to try and assist the situation is brought some of the people who were just newly retired, who are not that aged yet, sort of maybe in their late 50s, 60s, and brought them back to try and assist doctors. Then they graduated in advance the class of nursing, the nursing people who were doing a nursing degree, who would have graduated at the end of this semester. They have graduated them in anticipation, if you know what I mean, so that they can just get, busy working. And so obviously the schools and all the universities are not attending, and they haven't been attending for at least 2 months. So they were not at school anyway. They were doing online work. And so the decision was made to bring them in and let them start working as if they were, qualified, because they are qualified. So I'd really like to hear some of your questions. I don't know if anyone can hear me. If you can hear me and you'd like to make a little message and just say hi and where you're from, then I can react to that, because this is my first time doing a live, and I'd really like to know, is this going out? Can you hear me? And where you're from, and perhaps you want to ask a question, or perhaps you just want to say hi. I'd love that. So if you'd like to do that in the comment box there, you can just send me a little note saying where you're from, and or ask a question if you wish. Okay, so one of the things I really want to talk about today is, the actions of people, how people have reacted to being told that their movements are being restricted, how people are reacting toward their neighbors and toward the people that are more vulnerable in our society, and those who just don't have much to cope. So one of the situations that's certainly arisen in Italy is that there are a lot of old people who physically cannot go out and shop. There are also people who have some immunity vulnerabilities, some autoimmune diseases like diabetes or type 1 diabetes, quite a few other autoimmune diseases. And so it's a great risk for them to go out and, put themselves at risk. So these people generally need someone to help them shop, and just to do daily necessities, like maybe pick up groceries, pick up, medicine from the pharmacy, pay bills, because people need to pay their internet, they need to pay for their electricity, their water, their gas, as is my case. I'm just incredibly grateful that I managed to download a really good app from my bank a couple of months ago, and it had a few glitches, but it seems to be working now, and I seem to be able to go on. So just this morning, out of desperation, after I really thought that I would have to go to the post office to pay these bills, I see that I managed to get online and I managed to pay. So that's good. And so I'm really happy about that. So somehow managed to, I'm just looking here because somebody I think has popped up. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a message there. Hello. I can't really see where it's from, but anyway, so there's something there. Okay, so yeah, so I managed to pay my gas bill this morning, and it came to mind that I haven't been able to go out, and my neighbor behind me has been really kind in that when he went to do his shopping, he said to me, "What do you need?" He has a car, and he filled out his permission because you have to fill out a permission, and it has to be obviously provable that you're going for some essential service. If the police stop you, which they have stopped people, and there is a fine, so obviously he didn't want to get a fine, but he kindly was doing that for me. So some of my shopping has been done by him up to this point. He is now ill and he cannot go out because he's quite vulnerable, as he had a heart condition some years ago, so he will not be able to go out for me anymore. So today, having run out of just about everything, I mean, don't have rice anymore, I don't have any sort of vegetables, I've used them up because I've been eating oranges and green kale and things that provide vitamin C, because vitamin C is your best defense against coronavirus. Another really good piece of advice I could give you is if you have access to sunlight through your windows, as I do here in my studio and throughout the house, take a bit of sun, because vitamin D is essential in fighting this disease. And if any of you have found that to be true, or you have some suggestions for me, please let me know. So, yeah, so he couldn't go shopping for me. So I had a bit of a dilemma this morning. I was feeling a bit down because I thought, how am I going to do this? And anyway, so I messaged a friend who lives down the way, and she said, look, they have a service in the municipality to help those who are housebound and can't go out. You email them your list and they will see what they can do. So anyway, I emailed first of all, I phoned and I got through to someone I happened to know in the municipality, an old friend. So that was rather lovely. And she said, oh, so glad to hear from you. And so we had a quick chit chat, and that was really encouraging to have a friendly voice on the other end. And she said, yeah, we can organize it. The local police actually will deliver it to you. So I thought, oh, great, super. And she said, obviously, you have to receive it with a mask and gloves, and then, disinfect everything as you receive it, and then you can pack your groceries away and obviously don't make contact with the people delivering, because we don't want to put them at risk. So that's what's happening today. And I thought that was very special and kind. And it's one way that, people who are vulnerable, who aren't able to go out, can get this done. So I'm really excited that I'm going to have my first shopping delivered quite soon. I'm waiting for the knock on the door. Okay, so another thing that happened that really touched me today was that there have been reports in Palermo, in Sicily, and throughout Italy, in the south, and also here in the north, which is a bit more wealthy and more affected by the virus, but that people just didn't have money. I mean, the government has promised to assist with social security those who are the most desperate and really have no money at all and no way of earning money, which is becoming more people every day. But that money hasn't filtered through yet to the people, and I'm sure this is true of many countries. This is what's happening. And I do hope you can hear me, and there's some people showing up. If you want to just leave me a message, that'll help. And even if after I finish the live stream, if you want to leave me a message, if you're watching it back, it'll be really nice to know who's saying this, because I don't really know. I think I'm online, and I hope it's going through, and it would be nice to know. Anyway, so as I was saying, people have been desperate. There have been news reports of people really crying in the streets because they can't feed their children, and people are just getting desperate because they just don't have money to go and buy groceries, and it's not so easy, and not everybody just has a credit card to order online. And anyway, a lot of those companies are pretty much swamped. So so that's the first thing. And so what I saw this morning, which was so touching, was it was a message on Facebook from Conad, which is one of the supermarkets here in Italy, saying, please, we really want to help. If you find yourself in a situation where you do not have money to buy food and you don't know what to do, and you feel embarrassed to ask, please don't be embarrassed. We will treat this with great discretion. If you really want, you can email us a list, and then you can come and pick it up from us under your name with your telephone number. Or if you just want to phone and let us know if we can help in any way, and we will be happy to give you the groceries that you need. And I was really touched by that, because it's just so easy to say, yes, but the government is going to help people who are desperate. The government will do that. It's not a problem. I just felt, wow, that's a real way that a supermarket it will obviously cost them a little bit, but the fact that they were willing to go on Facebook and say, please, we respect your privacy. We don't want to embarrass anybody. If you need some food, can you please email us and we will get it to you? So I was really touched by that. The thing that concerns me is there are many old people who either don't have family who regularly visited them. This is before the coronavirus, just in general, because maybe their family live further away, or something's happened in the family and the old people have gone their way. And these lonely people who are locked in really touched my heart. And today I really felt moved to talk about them. Obviously, this is a situation that exists all over the world. Italy is known to be very caring of its aged, and there are many programs to include the aged, to look after the aged, and to make sure that they are getting the care they need, both medical and otherwise. So, yeah, so I was really touched by that. And I'd like to hear any positive stories you guys have. What have you seen? How have you... what have you noticed in your neighborhood, or what have you noticed in yourself? Your reactions, how have you been able to help those maybe in your own household or those close by, and little things that you could do. It doesn't involve a lot of money. One of my friends said he was at the supermarket the other day and there was a family outside and they were literally in tears because they just didn't have any money to buy groceries, and he just, he didn't have a lot of money on him, but for the day he managed to buy some tuna and some bread and maybe a bit of rice, and he gave them a couple of bits of fruit, and they were so delighted and happy that for that night they had some food, and it cost him 10 euros. So, and then hopefully he'll see them again at his next visit. So, yeah, we need to really open up our hearts to people who are suffering. Some of us don't have the ability to closet ourselves away. Some of us are not in a position to clean up our own houses or to look after ourselves, and mentally and physically. And I really want to lay it on your hearts, if you could find somebody near you, it doesn't have to be a huge gesture. Maybe you yourself are struggling, and maybe by helping somebody else or just, trying to encourage someone else, it'll help you. So this morning I got some quite dramatic news that was really, really troubling, in that my son, who is in his mid-30s. He's not young, but he's obviously younger than I am. And he had type 1, he got type 1 diabetes as a childhood diabetes. Type 1 is not lifestyle induced, it is literally an autoimmune disease in which the body stops producing insulin. Anyway, so he's managed all these years, and he's very good, and he's very good with his diet, and he's a personal chef. So he manages other people's diets, and he really is a very strong, positive person. But about 8 months ago, he discovered that through all the years of, his injecting insulin and his managing his diabetes, and maybe a kidney infection, that his kidneys were in really bad shape. And to cut a long story short, he has been put on the organ donor list for a kidney transplant. All of this happened about 5 months ago. So he is waiting on that list. And in the meantime, he has dialysis. So today I got a phone call from my family who are on the other side of the world to say that the dreaded thing had happened 2 days before they'd gone into lockdown. And his wife called me to say that his line for his dialysis had blocked, and she was really worried about him, and he hadn't had a good night, and he was vomiting, and he had really bad symptoms, and she was worried. And so as she was going to take him to the hospital where he has his dialysis 3 times a week quite regularly, they couldn't manage to put him on the dialysis machine because clearly the line was compromised, and he either had blockage or it just wouldn't work. So she was very, very, very it was quite traumatic for both of them. So, and they had to ask special permission because obviously they had to travel to the hospital. They went home and called the specialist, and she said, no, you have to go straight back to emergency and tell them to admit him immediately because we have to fix the line. So that's on my heart today, and I'm waiting to hear back if they can resolve this, and I'm hoping and praying they can resolve this. And if any of you are out there and you can relate to this and you have any autoimmune disease or diabetes, or you just want to say something positive, or you just want to offer some advice, I'm happy to hear it. And I really look forward to having your questions, and also to hear what you think of, the worldwide situation, and some positive enthusiasm and care we can give for each other in this very, very difficult situation. And it has certainly made me more aware of how we need to change our habits to be more caring of those around us and to be more aware of those who are really in need. So I'm going to try and keep this video to about 25 minutes because I think beyond that, it's quite a long video. So this is my first attempt, and if you like it, as I said, please, my name is Donna, and if you'd like to just subscribe below, leave me a message, please like the video, because that way I can continue to see that I'm giving you content that you really like and want and is interesting for you. And I hope you've enjoyed this update from Italy. Although it's in a very bad situation, I hope I've been able to show you the tragic side, but also the positive actions of people, our medical staff, the people in the hospitals that are fighting such an amazing fight. And I'm so grateful to them. And I'm sending out great prayers and thank yous, all of those who are fighting this daily. They are exhausted, they're tired, they're giving up time with their own families to fight this on our behalf. So I'm sending this special message out to them. They have wings on their shoulders, these medical professionals. So here we are. I ask you, please, whoever you can help, whoever you can send out a message to, please stay at home. Please enjoy lockdown. Share recipes. I'm going to be sharing recipes here. So that's, what I usually do on my channel. Share stuff that's useful. So, yeah. So this is the coronavirus update from Milan, Italy, number 2, live. So let me know, even if you come up later, because probably in America, you guys are still in the morning and the time difference here in Italy is slightly different. We went back. Did we go back or did we go ahead? The clock. Anyway, we had an extra hour yesterday. So today in Italy, right now, the time is, what is the time? Let me quickly look on my phone and tell you the time. The time is, it's 4 o'clock exactly. So it's 4 p.m. So there we are. Love to you all. I'd love to hear from you. Please send me some questions and give me some love in the like button and subscribe. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Bye.